Please stand. Scouts, attention. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Color guard, advance.
Veteran, marching, up, present, arm.
Color guard, post the colors.
Order, arm.
Color guard, honor your flag.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and place your right hand on your heart.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for Brooke McLaren as she will be singing our national anthem.
Can you see
dismissed. Thank you. Please be seated.
Welcome to the 2018 Veterans Day program. I'd just like to welcome you all, and also we have a very special announcement. Jackson and Darla Bat's brother Mason just surprised them about an hour ago. So everyone, welcome him home. Introduce the Student Council President, Claire Pommier, and Vice President, Gwen Povitt.
Welcome to this year's annual Veterans Day program. We honor all veterans with us now. Let us welcome them with a round of applause. This year marks the 100th anniversary of World War I. We honor all those who served during that time, as well as those who have served during other times in our history and today.
Today we are coming together to honor and remember all of those who have been in the United States Armed Forces. We honor those who are in active duty, honor those who have served in past years, and honor those who are no longer with us. Today is the day of honor and gratitude for all those who have served.
One symbol of remembrance in World War I is the poppy. The history of the poppy dates back many years. It all started in Western Europe. The land in Western Europe would become prime poppy growing if distributed, and after the Napoleonic Wars, the poppies sprouted around the soldiers' bodies. During World War I, the blood-red poppy was the only thing to grow on the barren fields of destruction. It became a symbol for memorial. The poppy soon came to mean memorial and immeasurable sacrifice, honor for those who lost their lives for their cause. To this day, poppies still represent sacrifice, and we use them today to signify World War I remembrance and the immeasurable sacrifice our veterans have put forth. Today, service members have difficult circumstances to work in than some other veterans, but the sacrifice is all the same. We honor all those who have served today. World War I has a rich history. It's the first of its kind, a battle raging on throughout the entire world, leaving few unaffected. Many were fearful, but many stepped up to help the effort. World War I started out with an assassination, but because of alliances at the time, nearly all of Europe was drawn in. Pretty quickly, it seemed that everyone was involved, including the United States, who had been hoping to stay neutral. Every continent except for Antarctica had countries involved. The battle spread like wildfire.
Around 40 million people from all sides during the war passed. Nearly 117,000 soldiers lost their lives, and over 200,000 were wounded. However, 4 million soldiers engaged in the fight, leaving us with many great heroes returning home to a world far different than when they left. Even though the last World War veterans have passed, we still honor them today. Please rise for a moment of silence and remove all headgear.
Thank
this day and happened after soldiers returned home from World War I. However, not all veterans were honored, as it did not include veterans from previous wars in this day of remembrance.
Today we use Veterans Day as a time to fully recognize all veterans for any time. As Student Council, if you'd like to take this time to thank all veterans.
It is my honor to introduce this year's keynote speaker, Mrs. Heinbuch. Before coming to SCC and being a 5th grade teacher, she served in the Army National Guard for 10 years and then went to UWRF. Without any further ado, here she is for today's keynote address.
We're here today to honor the heroes that stand here before us, to celebrate their achievements, their courage, their selflessness, dedication, and to say thank you for the sacrifices that they have made. We're also here to remember those that are only here in spirit, because the sacrifices that many made were the ultimate ones. The service members that stand or sit over here today came from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, all areas of our country. But the funny thing is that's kind of where their differences end. There's many more similarities than differences when it comes to a veteran. They all possess courage, pride, selflessness, determination, and a dedication that's unmatched by any other profession. All of the veterans in front of you share experiences, although each one is unique, very similar. As I was driving the other day, I was trying to think about some great lessons that we probably all have learned throughout our time in the military, and I thought I would share a few of them with you. Any veteran here will tell you today that when they're faced with a tough task, the question is how, not a matter of if they'll get it done. We all have learned that letters from home are worth more than gold. We all know what it means to say goodbye to our family, unsure of the next time you'll see them, and unsure of what big life events that you might miss when you're gone. Many of us know what it feels like to celebrate holidays far from home, with only maybe a deck of cards and some battle buddies and a box of cookies that your mom mailed from across the world. And we all know what it means to promise to serve and to protect an ideal that is much bigger than any one of us and ourselves, a greater good than the United States of America. I think a word that would describe all of the veterans here today is humble. In all honesty, when I was asked to speak, my first thought was, what will I say? I was just doing my job. I don't know, I don't have a story to tell, it was just my job. Just doing my job as a soldier. And that mentality lives on for me, as it does for many of us here. We're proud, but when you ask us, we were just doing our job. And thinking about the message that I would bring to you on Veterans Day, I thought it was also important for me to point out that I consider myself to be one of the lucky ones. Some of the brave men and women seated over here today went to battle without the things that I had. They fought under terrible conditions in the cold, in the jungles, and without a lot of the luxuries that I had while I was deployed. These are the people that we've read about and that we've heard about on TV documentaries, and they're in our history books. And they stand before us right now. They're living proof that we're still here. They served in conflicts all over the world and faced great challenges. And through all of that, my word to describe them is still humble. Veterans don't often tout their accomplishments. Again, we feel proud, but we don't always talk about it either. When we're thanked for our service, we'll probably give you a handshake and a nod and know that that's our way of saying, you're welcome. We will always feel that when it comes to our sacrifices, we were just doing our job. But you should know that our appreciation for programs and days like this will live on forever in our hearts. I'd like to take a little bit to share with you my story. My military story started over in Woodville about 15 years ago. I was 17 years old and pretty green and needing a little something more than what Woodville had to offer. Common sense should have told me that there were other ways in life to branch out. But I liked adventure, so I thought the military would be a great place to start. This is my boot camp picture. My family members and generations before me had served in the armed forces dating all the way back to World War I, and I always kind of knew that I would carry on that same legacy. Against my mother's wishes, and she's here today, so she's, I'm sure, thinking about that day still. I signed my name on the dotted line and joined the Army. I had turned 17 just 12 days prior to that. Fast forward to 2 years later, through boot camp, job training, engineering training, my senior year of high school, and learning to live life the military way, I found myself looking for a way to do a bigger part in our nation's military, and I volunteered to deploy to Iraq under Operation Iraqi Freedom. I brought my mother even closer to the heart attack that I had given her 2 years before. At this point, I was 19 years old. The unit I was to deploy with was actually out of North Carolina. I had never met them or even been to North Carolina, but I said, I'll go with you. They needed a certain skill set and the rank of a sergeant that there were not many technical engineer sergeants around at that time, so I said I'd be up for the job. My pre-mobilization training was supposed to take place in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, which was nice because it was pretty close to home. But as my friends and family of the same age were heading off to college, I was about to head off to war. I arrived at Fort McCoy eager to meet my new unit, but when I got there, they said they already left. I should have known. Then was my sign to turn back. Fort McCoy told me that I'd be flying solo down to Fort Bliss, Texas to mobilize with some other soldiers. So I thought, okay, we'll go down there, meet up with everybody, and then go overseas. I said my goodbyes to my family. All of these memories are still very fresh in my memory. And I said, I'm going to go to Fort Bliss for a couple months and do my training, and then you can come down and say goodbye. So that was great. It wasn't the final goodbye. I arrived at Fort Bliss at 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and the captain got on the bus and he said, welcome to Fort Bliss, you'll be flying out on Friday. Wrench number 2 had been thrown in the plan, and now it was really too late to turn back. After a long and cramped flight, I landed in Kuwait, and there I waited for 2 days in a tent in the desert for someone to come and call my name and say, hey, Sergeant Monteith, you're with us. Someone finally showed up, and off I went. We spent 5 days in Kuwait waiting for our flight north up to Iraq. It was hot, really hot. At the time, it also changed by 9 hours, so getting acclimated was kind of an understatement. But the good news is I met the new unit I was going to deploy with or spend the next year with, and they were pretty okay. So I brought a few pictures of my first days in Iraq to share with you. These are literally some of our first steps in the country. This is the landscape that no matter what direction you looked, you would always see this in the background. And that. And that. That's a tent city. That's where we lived for a portion of the time. Day 5 was flight day, and we loaded onto a C-130 and we flew north to Forward Operating Base Spiker in Tikrit, Iraq. This was when I learned what a combat landing was in a war zone, and I should have had a bucket. The Star north of Baghdad is where my base was. I also had the opportunity to fly all over the country, especially up into the northwest, doing different engineer projects. So I got to see much of the country of Iraq. I would spend the next year of my life in a war in a desert learning more lessons than I had learned in my entire 19 years prior to that. I balanced 3 military jobs within my new engineer unit. I was an architectural draftsman designing buildings for new construction for both Allied and Iraqi forces. This job brought me all over the country by helicopter, flying into remote rural locations, getting dropped off, surveying job sites, and then flying back to Spiker to do my design work. This is my team, the design management section of the 105th Engineer Group. Great group of guys there. The friendships that we made all overseas are unmatched by any relationships that we would ever experience. This is in a Black Hawk. This is how I got to do a lot of my traveling for our different design missions. And this also, I'm thinking, is a picture from a Black Hawk because it's got that nice big window there. This is looking down from flying. So Black Hawks fly pretty low, so we got the opportunity to see a lot of towns up close. I also served as a truck driver. On transport missions, I drove an up-armored Humvee to serve in security convoys. This job would prove to be the most daunting and trying job that I ever have or ever will do, ever have had or will do. A reliance on faith and belief on something bigger than myself were the greatest weapons I possessed. This is a picture of a truck convoy getting online, ready to roll out on a mission. This is me up in the turret. I did not ride up there when we drove, but that's where we always had a gunner up on the top. This is another picture of what we would call trucks online before we left for a mission. Everybody checking over your vehicles, talking about truck positions and who was in command in each vehicle. My job was to be a driver. You can tell from this picture that there was pretty cramped quarters in there. You kind of had to drive real scrunched in, wearing a lot of pounds of protective equipment. This is our gunner. His name was William Schaefer, and this is how we would have to drive because of the sand and the sandstorms that you would have to drive through, so you had to protect yourself. This is one of my favorite pictures of the whole time that I was overseas. These are two of my friends, Zeke Earl and William Schaefer. Now, after all of this work, you have to have a little play too, so I was able to find some pictures of some of the fun times that we had. There's a lot of sand, so we could always play sand volleyball. And this is another one of my favorite pictures because if you look at our faces, you can tell that something really funny just happened in the military. We love when funny things happen, but it's usually at the expense of somebody else. The guy in the, I think it's on your left up there, his name was Brendan Drohan. He was one of my favorites. Nothing could shake him, literally and figuratively, as you can see. But it turns out that a large June bug can shake him. So we had been playing volleyball and known that there was a large June bug on his back, but nobody had the heart to tell him, or we really just didn't want to. But it made it down his shirt, and somebody caught it on camera. So a little humor never hurt everybody, and again, it's kind of the military way of having fun. We also set up a little softball team. So that was fun. We would send equipment, or family members would send equipment home, and we would play other units. Again, there was lots of sand for a baseball field. The 12 months that I spent in Iraq were by far the most trying times that I will ever experience. There were bombs, mortars, IEDs, and very little sleep. But the funny thing is that for as strong as those fears were, they're not the themes that resonate in my mind from my deployment. The lasting effects have been the experience of teamwork, dedication, friendship, and a genuine role in achieving something that was much larger than myself. I am who I am today, largely because I'm a veteran. I had to persevere, even when the future seemed impossible. And this has been the story of me, of my time in Iraq, and of my time in the military. And the stories of all of these wonderful people over here are similar in many ways and different in some others, but we each have a story to tell. Thank you for listening to my story. But before I end, I think it's important for me to turn the tables to all of you and ask, how do you play a role in Veterans Day today? And you actually play a very important role. It is all of you who will be the future of the great United States. It may even be some of you who stand up here to share your story with others someday. But for now, you can still do your part, even before you get to the future. You can take time today, or any day for that matter, to put your hand over your heart during the national anthem. You can take your hat off and pay your respect to the flag before your favorite sporting event. Knowing that our military, and without our veterans, we would have no such privileges as the ones that we get today. And in years that will fly by faster than you know, you will hold the privilege and the power of leading this great country and all that it stands for. Be a role model to others in how you honor our nation's veterans. The biggest role you can play is of somebody who appreciates and understands the freedoms that you have. And be somebody who knows that nothing worthwhile is easy. Freedom is worthwhile, and freedom in our country surely did not come easy. We honor veterans today because they held those ideas not only in their hearts, but more importantly in their hands. They stood up and they said, "I can do that job." Veterans surround you every day. We're here at school, or at the grocery store. We are close and we are far. We are in bases all over the United States and all around the world. Appreciation for a veteran's courage and sacrifice is not something just for Veterans Day alone, but it's for all of us every day, and we can show that through our words and our actions. I challenge you all to let the courage and dedication that these great men and women show inspire you to be role models each and every day. Thanks to all of you veterans who made the trek here today, and may peace and strength continue to drive you in all that you do. You have given this great country everything that it stands for, and today is your day to let the nation say thank you. Thank you, SCC Middle School, for this heartfelt and powerful program.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Heimbach. It touches our hearts to hear your stories, and we hope it inspires all of those in the audience.
The next portion of the program involves many of the students with us today in the audience. The SCC Middle School Choir will be singing Home by Brett Beavers and Dirk Spedley. Annika Yang and Connor Ball have been selected to sing a solo during the song. Claire Pommier. Claire will be explaining why she honors the American flag. Without further ado, here's the winning essay.
When I stand for the flag each and every morning in my school, my eyes settle on the stars and stripes crossing the sacred material. The words come naturally, as the Pledge of Allegiance is engraved in my heart. I pledge allegiance to this flag, allegiance to this flag, and this flag itself is what matters to me. It does not deserve a blank stare, a robotic memorization. This flag deserves everything I have in me, and then more. This flag means something. The stripes, they're not just a pattern of red and white fabric. Each thread in the closely woven material represents a hero, a memory, a life that has been forever changed, a soul who fought for us so that we may be free. Each stripe represents a barrier, an obstacle that someone had to conquer, red blood. Even though we're not currently in a world war or a bloodshed for independence, the blood is still there. Blood can be sacrificed, but it can also be healing. The power of the blood in my veins keeps me alive, and the blood of our country is just as important because it keeps me free. Each star on the American flag reminds me of a hero. So many stars, but each just as important. What if someone took a star off our flag? What would happen if we did not include each one of our heroes? Each hero is represented in a white star. White appears numerous times on the symbol of our country as well. Peace, purity, and prosperity. White is the people no longer experiencing the harsh pain of slavery. White is the white dove hovering over our country when we are celebrating in times of prosperity. We have enjoyed pure freedom as people, and that is not something to be taken lightly. White is powerful, and white is everything. The immense power and depth behind each piece of cloth in our great flag is so much more than mere cotton woven together. Honor, sacrifice, life, and freedom. And when I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance each and every morning, I pray I will never forget what this country means to me. Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we will be passing the microphone around the veterans with us today. Please say your name, branch, years of service in relation to SCC if applicable. Students, please stand and give us a wave while your veterans introduces themselves. Please hold all applause until the end.
We're just going to use this one because it's not going to be crazy.
My name is Dave Osby. I was in service in the Republic of Vietnam from 70 to 72. I'm here at the request of my grandson, Peyton Osby. Up there, he's asked me to do this 5 times now over the years. I'd like to break protocol for just 1 second though, and I would like to give a heartfelt thanks on behalf of the veterans and the families here to the administration, the teachers, and you, the students of St. Croix Central, for putting this on and being so attentive and kind to us. Thank you all.
You all heard from me already, but I'm Holly Heimbach. I served 10 years in the National Guard from 2004 to 2014. In the Wisconsin National Guard, I deployed to Iraq.
My name is Gary Schneidock. I was in the Navy. Yeah, that was right. Navy from 1963 to 1969. My fun adventure overseas was in Vietnam. One interesting side note, since returning, I have met 6 separate men who told me that the gunfire from the ship I was on saved their life. And talk about something powerful. That was it. So I'm also a proud brother of all these men and women up here. What a great family.
Chuck Riesdorf, United States Navy, 1960 through 64. And I have 2 grandkids, Kevin and Gwen Bobbick.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Domagowski. I served in the Minnesota Army National Guard from 1966 to 1972. I'm here with my grandson, cross-country extraordinaire runner, Dylan Koss.
My name is Bridget Plouffe. I was in Vietnam 66 and 67, and I have a daughter here, Hope, over there in the band. Thank you.
Lawrence G. Wolf, United States Army from 65 to 68, served in South Korea from 66 to 68. My granddaughter is Madeline Dahl.
Hi, my name is Mike Fraser. My grandson, Jared Fraser's here. I was in the Navy from 1971 to 75, spent 72 in Vietnam.
I am Denise Gottfredson. I was with the U.S. Army Reserves and Minnesota National Guard from 1998 to 2007. I was deployed to Bosnia in 2001 and Iraq in 2003, and my son, Shane Gottfredson, is at school here.
I'm Edria Stordahl. I was in the Army for 6 years, and Danny Nymus is my family.
Reuben Coleman, U.S. Coast Guard, 1963 to 67, and I thank you for this program.
Hi, I'm Doug Harmon. I served in the Navy on board the USS Constellation during Vietnam. My granddaughter, Kendra Harmon, is right there. Thank you all for coming and for the support.
Don Greenfield was in the Air Force from 64 to 68, automotive mechanic. About 2 years in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and a year and a half in Tripoli, Libya. I got a grandson here somewhere, James Bolt.
Name's George Reed. I served in the Air Force from 71 to 75, and my granddaughter is Kelsey Reed.
My name is Warren Pommier. I served U.S. Army Vietnam from 71 to 73, and then I was in the Navy JAG Corps from 79 to 83. My granddaughter is Clara Pommier, right over there. Hi, Claire.
My name is Jim Gullickson. I was in the Air Force from 56 to 60, and thank you for a nice program today.
I'm Bruce Bond. I was in the service from 65 to 67. I was in Vietnam 66, 67.
My name is Jerry Aftal. I was in the Army Artillery from 59 to 63, and my daughter is Bryn Aftal here.
My name is Mike Dado. I served in the Navy from 69 to 73. My granddaughter Elsa Dado invited me.
My name is Susan Lixit. I was in the United States Navy in 1966, 67, 68. Worked at Naval Air Station Jacksonville being supply department. My grandson is Aiden Ballard.
My name is Skip Ballard. I was in the Navy from 1988 to 1992, and I was deployed in the Persian Gulf during the Operation Desert Storm. And my son is also, my son is Aiden Ballard, representing, wearing my sweater today.
My name is Don Wilson. I was in the Navy from 1957 to 1963. And grandson is Aiden.
We'll get there. My name is
Dwight Johnson. I was in the Army from 1946 to 47 in World War II, occupation of Japan.
My name is Roger Jewell, and I was in the Air Force from 1957 to 61. And today I was invited by my granddaughter, Bailey Jewell. She plays in the band. There's a lot of
My name is Ron Kane, and I was in the Army, served from 1968 to 1986, served 2 years active in Vietnam, spent most of the time in the jungle with 6-man patrols, and I would like to thank the Army, the Marines, the Air Force for all the support that you gave me during that time. So, and also the Navy, because I used one of their guns, or asked for some of their support too. So, thank you, Navy. And my granddaughter is Maya Beener. Thank you.
My name is Nick Digman. I was in the U.S. Navy from 1988 to 1994, served aboard USS Enterprise. And my daughter over there is Haley. She's the one who lit the candle on this thing.
My name is Jennifer Morrow. My daughter's Amethyst Morrow. You gotta stand up. I make it every year. I'm U.S. Army, and I first enlisted in 05 and still doing that gig with the Wisconsin Guard. And I always get asked to tell a story. 30-second story? Yeah? No? Yeah? Alright, no, not story. Okay, 30-second story. So this year we had to do a movement from Wisconsin into Michigan for our training, right? My guys have to go somehow across into Michigan. You've got to get across Lake Michigan, right? So we're going up through the UP, except for we don't have the best drivers always. So we decided to take a break, right? And as we're running around, we decided to go over to the lake. A bunch of us decided that it's super intelligent in the middle of summer to jump into Lake Michigan. How many of you have jumped into Lake Michigan, Lake Superior? Not the brightest idea, right? So now we're soaking wet, stuck in our uniforms, don't get a choice, and we still have another 12-hour shift to go. Not the wisest choice. Don't suggest jumping in Lake Michigan.
I'm Jerry Nicholas. I was in the Navy from 1966 to 69, and I have 2 grandkids, Luke Spitzmuller and Eva Spitzmuller.
My name is Fred Jardines. I was in the United States Army from 1963 to 1966, and I'm a graduate of Sacred Central, and my grandson is Trey Jardines.
My name is Don Brody. I was in the U.S. Army from 1961 to 63, served in Germany 20 months, and active duty for active reserves in 64 and 65.
Jim Bevilacqua, U.S. Army, 1981 to 91, Gulf War vet, and we've had 5 kids go through SCCs.
My name is Tim Matei. I served in 68 through 70 in the Army, 5th Army, mechanized infantry in Vietnam, and then spent about 7.5 years in the Kansas National Guard Band.
Sean Spriggle, Navy from 2002 to 2012. Deployed in 2006, 2007 on the board Dwight D. Eisenhower. Allie Myers, soon to be stepdad.
Baron Fuller, 1976 to 1980, spent 3 years on Guam. Kayla is my cousin.
Tyler Johnson. My daughter is Kate Johnson. I was in the Army Reserves from 03 to 09, and I served as a heavy equipment and combat engineer in Iraq. 04 to 06. I want to thank you guys so much for doing this program today. It means the world to me.
Myron Coles, also a UCC graduate. I was in the United States Air Force from 1968 through 1971. Spent a year in Thailand, and I'm here on the invitation of my granddaughter, Sienna Benston. My fault.
It really was my fault. Steve Peterson. I was in the Army Reserve from 68 to 74, and both my children have graduated from Central here, and I think this is just a great program that you put on here, so thank you.
Dwayne Swunger. I served 4 years in the Army, 2 years in the National Guard. My daughter Kylie's hiding in the flute section over there.
My name's Oren Summers. I was in the U.S. Army from 1968 to 1970. I got out July 31st, 1970, and I have a granddaughter, Kate Summers, here, and my daughter also works through school here, Sarah Pomerani. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Schultz. I was in the U.S. Army, 1969 through 71, and then 12 years in the Minnesota National Guard. I'm here on behalf of 3 grandchildren I have going here. I have Noah, Liliana, and Christian Stanky.
Gary Tim, U.S. Air Force, 1975 to 1979. And I'm here to spend this wonderful day with my grandson, Braden Clem. Thank you.
I'm John Ankerbretson. I'm here on behalf of Elena Hackbar, my granddaughter. Spent 1967 to 1971, United States Marine Corps.
My name is Ted Falk, United States Navy, 1966 to 1970. Spent a little time in country, 68 and 69. But I'm here to see my grandchildren, Jack and Grace Dulski. Here they are. Thank you.
I'm Chuck Pissy. Served in the Army, stationed in Germany from 1966 to 69. And I'm here with my granddaughter, Brooklyn Pissy.
And my name is Chris Pizzi. I was in the U.S. Navy from 2005 to 2009, stationed in Japan, and I'm here with my niece Brooklyn.
I'm Roger Lindquist. I was 9 years in the Army National Guard from 1953 to 61, and I'm here as a guest of Savannah Breeze. There she is. Thanks for the program, by the way.
My name's Al LaVenture. I was in the Air Force from 63 to 67. I'm here from request from Stuart Rath, my grandson.
Tom Ellison, Air Force, 68 to 72. Carmen Schwallen, granddaughter.
I'm Murray Stofa. I was in the Army for 5 years, and I'm here with my wife, Mrs. Stofa, my daughter.
I'm Ernie Niemeyer. I was in the Vietnam War. I spent 27 years total between the Army Reserve and active duty. I have 3 grandchildren here today, Abigail and Curtis Niemeyer, and Justin Tom.
I'm Chris Brody. I served 4.5 years in the Air Force, and I'm proud to be the
father or grandfather of those cute Brody girls sitting right over there.
I'm Roger Larson. I was in the Air Force 1962 to 66. And I've been Hillerick in St. Croix Central. And God bless you all. Thank you for putting this on today.
My name is Gary Zenner. I was in the Navy in 1964. I was in Vietnam for a year on a repair ship that did the repairs on swift boats that patrolled the rivers around Vietnam. I'm here for Antonio, my grandson.
Well, I'm Dave Zenner. I was in the Army from 1996 till 2018. I'm here on invite from Antonio Keeling Rodriguez. Stand up. Stand up.
I'm Aisha Zenner. I was United States Army for 8 years, Operation Iraqi Freedom from 08 to 09. And I'm here on behalf of my son, my wonderful baby, Antonio.
Evan Keeling, served in the U.S. Army from 05 to 13. My vacation was in the desert of Iraq for over a year, and I'm here for Antonio and Oliver.
Lynn Randall, U.S. Air Force, retired 1983 to 2003. My granddaughter Jasmine on the base, and my grandson Ashton Peterson.
My name is Anthony Velour. I'm here on behalf of Jordan Hemingway and my son Vincent up there. I just want to take a quick moment to say to our keynote speaker today, she did a wonderful job. It's very well done. I'm just going to take a couple seconds to tell you the one part of her story where she said she did the really trying, hard job of convoys. That's what I did for a year, averaged about 3 hours of sleep a night. So let me tell you, that was tough. But I also, like her, got deployed with a unit as a fill-in because my unit left before me. And the hardest part about that was being the only Vikings fan in an entire battalion of people that are from Green Bay.
And your son Lewis, United States Marine Corps, 89 to 97. And my daughter Sarah, the last one going through the school.
Jamie DeKeen, United States Marine Corps, 95 to 99. St. Croix Central substitute teacher. And I'm here for Liam and Ian DeKeen. Stand up, guys, come on.
Hi, my name is Mason Finch. I'm a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. I'm deploying out in December to the Middle East, and I'm here with my little brother Jackson, my little sister Darla. I'm coming by my beautiful mother and godmother, and I really love this program. I know it means a lot to these great ladies and gentlemen out here, so I appreciate it.
Truly no words to express our level of gratitude for your service. Students, let's give one more round of applause for the veterans who are with us.
For today's program titled Armed Forces on Parade, arranged by Andrew Ballard.
It is a medley of each branch's official song, and they have been focusing on keeping the tunes as close as possible to the original form of the song.
Veterans, when you hear your branch's song played, please stand up. Audience, feel free to pause briefly after each hymn. Without further ado, please leave your band and page Armed Forces on.
Taps originated in the Civil War and is played as a lights out signal. The calls started out as a standard bugle call, but turned more melodious so it would catch the soldiers' attention more effectively.
Shortly after being created, taps was played for a fallen soldier's funeral procession. It was first used because the historic 3 shots fired during the war may have been confused for an enemy attack.
Since then, taps has been played at funerals for military officials throughout history, and it is still being played today.
Taps will be played today by our band director, Mr. Helmrich, and 6th grade math teacher, Mrs. Tate.
Please remain quiet before and after taps. It may be emotional, so please remain respectful throughout the playing. Thank you.
Thank you, veterans, spouses, community members, and staff and students. We are all thankful for this opportunity to honor those who have shaped our country.
We are encouraged to express our gratitude every day of the year, especially this day. Thank you again, veterans. You have shaped our country, and we would not be the same without you.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure as middle school principal Pete Nussbaum to not only serve as principal of this great district and community, but also to conclude this program. I'd like to first of all thank Ms. Stofa and Ms. Oakland and Student Council for all the hard work putting on this program. I want to thank Mr. Helmrich and Ms. Schmidt for the wonderful music, and Ms. Heimbach for the great message. And she does live by what she preaches every day. Also, you guys were able to hear an amazing essay written by Ms. Claire Pommier. Not only was it selected by the 8th grade, but Ms. Pommier does not know, and she is finding out now, it has been chosen first place by the VFW and will be moving on to the district. So, congratulations, Claire Pommier. An amazing message. As our veterans stay standing, I would like to conclude with a final message and a quote written by Joseph Campbell. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. Thank you, veterans, for being our heroes. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for attending our program. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Have a great day, everyone.
Please stand.
Gavin.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, advance. Color guard, retire the colors. Color guard, dismissed. Scouts dismissed.
Order, out!
Thank you. That is the end of our program.